Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. As with the fear of poverty, the fear of failure tends to manifest in two ways, either by stopping people in their tracks and limiting them, or by driving them relentlessly to achieve material success above all else. Many of the most successful people, in the conventional sense of the word, are driven by the fear of failure and what that would mean to their self-image, their identity, the false self. Failure is so anathema to them that they go to great lengths to achieve the material success that their egos, so desire. The ego is behind the fear that fuels the drive for money and success for its own sake. Others who aren't gripped by the ego's fear of failure may be equally driven by their heart to fulfill their soul's goals. For them, material acquisition and the idea of being successful is not what drives them, but a passion to fulfill what they came here to do. There are two kinds of success. One is the obvious financial and material success in the eyes of the world, in the eyes of the ego, essentially. To accomplish this, you must get the things the ego values, such as power, respect, and recognition from other egos, and wealth and the material trappings of wealth. These all ensure more of the same. The rich get richer, as they say. That's one kind of success. The other kind of success is what those who aren't as driven by their egos seek. They follow the mysterious and subtle urgings of the heart, which move each of you to accomplish what your soul set out to do in this lifetime, for which the ego is often a stumbling block. The pursuit and fulfillment of your soul's plan is accompanied by true happiness, fulfillment, love, and a sense of well-being. There may or may not be the usual material comforts, but often these are also present, since happiness, love, and fulfillment make for a very attractive state, and naturally draw to you support and opportunities that advance your life in practical ways. Your definition of success really matters. How you define success determines what your life will look like and what kind of success you'll achieve. If you define success in the way the ego does, you'll go after that kind of success, and your choices will be in keeping with that goal. For instance, you'll want to form relationships with others who can help you climb the ladder of success, with those who've already gained some wealth and power. In relationships with the opposite sex, you're likely to choose partners who will enhance your image and standing with those who've already made it. Usually, those you attract as partners are also interested in success, or at least your success. Birds of a feather flock together, as they say. If material success is your focus and the focus of those around you, it will be less on other values or goals, and your goals will seem like the right ones, since no one around you would contradict that. And from the soul's perspective, that's fine, too. There's a time for everything, and a time for pursuing the ego's goals. If that's where you're at, then you and everyone around you will be learning the same lessons and having similar experiences in regard to materialism, success, and happiness. Those who go after material wealth and power are looking for happiness, and they expect to find it in success. But is it there? What most discover is that success alone isn't enough to make you happy. When you attain a goal you've been working toward, there's a certain kind of happiness that's experienced, a relief and a big yippee. That always feels great, but that feeling never lasts for long before the old sense of still needing and wanting more or something better arises from the ego. True happiness is different than that exciting temporary happiness. It's deeper, more satisfying, and more true, meaning it doesn't come and go. Happiness is central to being a human being. Perhaps the deepest desire, besides simply surviving, is to be happy. That's also why people want to be loved. To love and be loved is to be happy. Beyond survival, happiness is what everyone's seeking. The voice in your head, the ego, pretends to know what will make you happy and how to get that. But the voice in your head is actually what makes you unhappy, largely by stirring up desires. Wanting something you don't have doesn't feel good. Desires make you discontent with life as it is. Then the voice in your head provides you with solutions to the desires it's created. You need more money. You need a better body. You need a relationship. You need a more expensive car. You need to move. Its strategies are endless, but they never get you what you really want. They never result in true happiness, in contentment. The ego doesn't actually want you to find true happiness, so it sends you on wild goose chases. The ego's job isn't to make you happy, but to keep you running from one desire to another. That's how it keeps you involved with it. It also uses fear to keep you involved with it. It convinces you that you'll be unhappy, a failure in life, unless you follow its suggestions and get what it says you should want. It uses the fear of unhappiness, the fear of failure, and other fears to get you to listen to it. Those who seek success for success's sake are running from the fear of failure. They're afraid that they will be a failure, when in fact, no one could ever be a failure. I'm a failure is just a thought in someone's head, not anything real or true. Failure is just an idea, nothing to be afraid of. And we have to ask, a failure in whose eyes? Those who are afraid of being a failure imagine that others are judging and assessing them according to some standard, and they don't want to come up short. Their own imaginations are scaring them and causing them to suffer. They learned this as children. They were assessed in school and assessed by parents who expected and demanded success from them. Their parents were probably afraid of failure and striving frantically for success themselves. They only wanted what they believed was best for their children. Or perhaps their parents were failures in the eyes of other egos, and therefore in the eyes of their child, and the child's ego doesn't want to suffer that fate. The point is that the fear of failure is established in childhood by an overemphasis in the child's life on material success. To a child, this can make success and failure seem like a matter of life or death. What are people actually afraid of when they're afraid of failure? At the root of the fear of failure is a fear of not surviving, and secondarily a fear of not being loved. But what actually is failure? There's actually no such thing as failure. It's just one more concept. It's unreal, intangible, an imagination, a fear. What does failure look like to you? What does failure mean to you? What does it mean to your identity if you fail? Does it mean that you are a failure? You are stupid? You are incompetent? You are foolish? The false self doesn't like to be seen in these ways, and it's only the false self that can actually be these things. Your true self is free of all labels, all imaginations and stories. Your true self just is. It isn't anything. The truth is that failure is part of life. It's built into life. It's how people learn. It's impossible for people to not fail, and often. If you're learning the piano, you hit a wrong note. If you're learning to read, you stumble over a new word. If you're becoming a long-distance runner, you lose to more experienced runners. Failure is part of the process of becoming successful. Failure is necessary to success. You can't have one without the other. If you don't have a stomach for failure, and if you take your mistakes personally, that is, if you think they mean something about you, I'm a failure, you won't get past square one in becoming good at whatever you're doing. Those who perform the most successfully are also the ones who failed the most, because that's what it takes to perform well. You persevere through the difficulties, through the failures, and learn from those failures. It's what you learn from failure that makes you a success in any field. The same is true of material success. Those who make this their primary goal persevere through difficulties, hold to their goal, and do whatever it takes to achieve it. It's the do whatever it takes that can be problematic if other things that make for true happiness aren't also valued. But that's all part of every soul's lessons. Once those lessons are learned, the soul chooses more wisely and is no longer fooled by more superficial values and goals, such as pure materialism and power. This is a stage all souls go through, and they tend to go through this stage with other souls who are at a similar stage in their evolution. Chances are your goals are more substantial, less superficial. You want to be happy, or free, or more loving, and some success along the way would be nice too. Some of you might limit yourselves, however, by being afraid of failure, and instead of going after what makes your heart happy with all your might, you shy away from taking risks or doing what you'd really enjoy because you're afraid you'll look foolish or not succeed, so you stay in your comfort zone. Such fear of failure can be debilitating and can cause depression, and at the very least reduces one's happiness. Fear of failure can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. What you fear becomes a reality simply because you feared it. This is true of all fears, and here's how this works. If you're afraid of failure or of anything else, this fear can paralyze and limit you because it takes away your courage, confidence, and ability to persevere. Fear creates a debilitating inner climate, a negative outlook, which makes it difficult for you to achieve not only your ego's goals, but more importantly, your soul's goals for this lifetime. Those who succeed and are truly happy, have confidence that they can achieve their goals, are willing to persevere and do what it takes regardless of the difficulties they encounter or so-called failures on their part, and have the courage to follow their heart, their true passion, what they love. Fear takes away people's passion, their brilliance, and saps the juice out of life. This passion, brilliance, and courage is your true self, your heart leading the way in your life. If you don't listen to it and follow it, but listen to your egoic mind instead, there's little chance for true happiness. You are meant to be happy. The Father wants this for you. That includes being happy with your life, with how you spend your time, including how you make your living. If you're afraid to try something new or different because you might fail at it, then that may keep you from discovering new talents and enjoyments you didn't even know were there. The soul likes to explore new things. God likes to explore new things. If you keep yourself from trying new things, you might miss out on what you're really good at, what you might really love, what makes your heart sing. Failure is not shameful, but it is a shame, in a manner of speaking, to not experience life as fully as you might, because you're afraid you won't do well at something, or that others will laugh at you or shun you. What keeps you from trying something you'd love to do, if anything? What are you afraid of? If this is your issue, then it's very important to ask these questions and examine your answers carefully. These are the ideas that may be holding you back from greater happiness. They're just ideas. Fears are just ideas, and ideas are only powerful if you believe them. Thank you for being here. I am with you always.